So, good morning po, sir. Our topic today is about climate change. So, first, what is climate change? People are calling it the crisis of our time po, and it is kasi 'di ba, hindi na po tayo nakaka-experience nito all over the world po. The other country talks about the climate change and how do they fix it. So, what is climate change? So, climate change refers to a long-term shifts in temperatures and weather patterns. Human activities have been the main driver of climate change, primarily due to burning fossil fuels like coal, oil, and gas. So, later on po, yung tatlong yan, matatakal po natin yan. So, yun nga po, yung climate change po is ito yung pagbabago ng mga klima na nararanasan po natin ngayon, like yung sobrang init, then later on po, uulan ng malakas. So, ganun lang po siya. Next is, dito naman po, it shows that these are the levels of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere over hundreds of thousands of years po. But this spike in carbon dioxide at the very end that took off during the Industrial Revolution. We started breaking carbon dioxide records in 1950. Kung nakikita niyo po yung sa ilalim, years before today po. So yun po, and we haven't stopped since. So bakit po kaya? Well, according to scientists po, 95% chance dahil po sa human activity. Kaya tumaas yung climate, tumaas yung case ng climate change up to now po. Because they've been burning more and more fossils like oil and coal, which release carbon dioxide to power our homes, factories, airplanes, and even cars po. So, ano nga ba itong mga fossil fuels na to? So, fossil fuels are coal, crude oil, and natural gas. So, sa coal po, is a rock mineral capable of giving large quantities of energy like fire. They are usually dug up from mountains. Then, sa crude oil naman po, also known as petroleum, is a liquid substance. Only specific oils are flammable. They are found in cave-like pockets hundreds of kilometers underground. And lastly, sa natural gas naman po is the most lethal and flammable source. It is also the most unearthed fossil fuels po. So, these are the fossil fuels. They are all considered fossil fuels because they were formed from the fossilized buried remains of plants and animals that lived millions of years ago. Because of their origins, fossil fuels have a high carbon content po. Next is methane. Methane, or CH4, is a colorless, odorless, and highly flammable gas. It is composed of carbon and hydrogen. It is also a potent greenhouse gas, meaning it affects climate change by contributing to increased warming, according to the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. So, alam niyo po ba na may mga animals na nakakapag-produce ng methane gas? Yun po yung mga ruminant livestock such as cow, sheep, buffalo, goats, and camels na merong malalaking stomach na kayang mag-contain ng microbes called methanogens po, which are the capable of digesting coarse plant materials which produce methane as a byproduct of digestion po. In that way po, methane is released to the atmosphere by the animal belching or burping po, or yung pagdighay po nila. So, yun po. So, all those gases are in the air, and when sunlight gets into the Earth's atmosphere, some of the heats get trapped and the planet gets warmer. That's why they call it the greenhouse effect. So, greenhouse effect is a process that occurs when gas in Earth's atmosphere trap the sun's heat. This process makes the Earth much warmer than it would be without an atmosphere. The greenhouse effect is one of the things that makes Earth a comfortable place to live. So, yun nga po, nag-occur lang po yun kapag yung gases na trap heat in atmosphere, then doon po nagiging warm yung planet natin. And yung mga main gases na responsible for the greenhouse effect includes carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and water vapor po. So, what causes climate change? So, it causes climate change by generating power. By burning fossil fuels such as coal, oil, and natural gas, and it generates electricity and heat, and by that, it causes a large chunk of global emission. Next is manufacturing goods. Ito yung mga factory kung saan ito yung paggawa ng pagpaprocess ng mga product na yung ginagamitan ng machines pa. Next is cutting down forests. Yung iba ginagawa to create farms or pastures for their animals po. So, syempre po, kapag ginawa nila yan, nare-release yung carbon dioxide from the trees po. So, in that case, they destroying them also limits nature's ability to keep emissions out of the atmosphere po. Next is using transportation. Most cars, ships, and planes run on fossil fuels po. Syempre po, di naman po gagana yan kapag walang fuels. That makes transportation a major contributor of greenhouse gases. Ito yung mga nagpo-protect sa Earth natin from the sun, especially carbon dioxide emissions. Road vehicles account for the largest part, but emissions from ships and planes continue to grow. Kasi kumbaga, sila yung mga pinakamalaking amount ng gas na nag-release. Next is producing food. Requires energy to run farm equipment or fishing boat. Usually with fossil fuels, growing crops can also cause emissions, like when using fertilizers in manure for their farms. And emissions also come from packaging and distributing food. Next is powering buildings. Globally, residential and commercial buildings consumes over half of all electricity, and as they continue to draw on coal, oil, and natural gas for heating and cooling, they emit or they make significant quantities of greenhouse gas emissions. Lastly is consuming too much. Siyempre po, lahat ng too much is bad po. Consuming too much of power and foods in our homes po is not good kasi nagko-contribute po yan ng greenhouse gas emissions. Consumption of goods such as clothing, electronics, and plastic po. So, of course, if there's a cause, there's also an effect. So, what are they? First is hotter temperature. Nearly all land areas are seeing more hot days and heat waves. 2020 was one of the hottest years on record. Higher temperatures increase heat-related illnesses and make it more difficult to work and move around. Wildfires start more easily and spread more rapidly when conditions are hotter. Next is more severe storms. Changes in temperature causes changes in rainfall. This results in more severe and frequent storms. They cause flooding and landslides, destroying homes and communities and costing billions of pounds. Next is increased drought. Water is becoming scarcer in more regions. Droughts can steer destructive sun and dust storms that can move billions of tons of sand across continents. Deserts are expanding, reducing land for growing food. Many people now face the threat of not having enough water on a regular basis. Next is a warming, rising ocean. The ocean soaks up most of the heat from the global warming. This melts ice sheets and raises sea levels, threatening coastal and island communities. The ocean also absorbs carbon dioxide, keeping it from the atmosphere. More carbon dioxide makes the ocean more acidic, which endangers marine life. Next is loss of species. Climate change poses risks to the survival of species on land and in the ocean. These risks increase as the temperatures climb. Forest fires, extreme weather, and invasive pests and diseases are among many threats. Some species will be able to relocate and survive, but others will not. Next is not enough food. Changes in climate and increases in extreme weather events are among the reasons behind a global rise in hunger and poor nutrition. Fisheries, crops, and livestock may be destroyed or become less productive. Heat stress can diminish water and grassland for grazing. Next is more health risk. Changing weather patterns are expanding diseases such as malaria. Extreme weather events increase diseases in depth and make it difficult for healthcare systems to keep up. Other risks to health include increased hunger and poor nutrition in places where people cannot grow or find sufficient food. Lastly is poverty and displacement. Climate change increases the factors that put and keep people in poverty. Floods may sweep away urban slums, destroying homes and livelihoods. Heat can make it difficult to work in outdoor jobs. Weather-related disasters displace 23 million people a year, leaving many more vulnerable to poverty. Last is climate change prevention. Yung magre-report po nito ay si John Lester na po. So, yun lang po. Have a good day, sir.